Spaceman AM 640 and a view from space. This is Talk Radio. You can email me at spaceman@640toronto.com or space@640toronto.com. ST writes, hey Space, have you been following the emerging story of the U.S. military helicopter that was shot down, just mentioned in the newscast a few moments ago, crashed during fighting in eastern Afghanistan? Apparently 20 of the 38 soldiers killed on board happen to be members of the Navy SEAL Team 6 that supposedly took out Osama bin Laden in that raid on his compound in Pakistan back in May. I know the official story says none of the team that was used in the raid were on this chopper, but whether this crash was staged or not, or shot down, it's not important very much to the overall big picture. That being, most members of the Navy SEALs 6 team were taken out the very night of the staged Osama bin Laden raid to cover up the story that there was really no killing of Osama bin Laden. Someone would have to know. There would be witnesses. This helicopter crash was a convenient way for the United States government to disseminate the information to the public that the Navy SEAL 6 team is dead. See, after a couple of months of not being seen by their friends, family, fellow soldiers, they might start asking, hey, where's so-and-so? Haven't seen him around since, like, early May. This is a classic method, my email writes, various governments throughout history have used to dispose of special ops forces and covert operatives so that the real story does not emerge. In this case, the Osama bin Laden raid was a hoax. There was no killing of Osama bin Laden. There was no body. Dead men tell no tales. I think of some of the talking heads are even saying that the Taliban shot the helicopter down. And why not? If the people believe that Osama bin Laden was killed in that raid back in May, then they'll believe almost anything that they are fed. Helicopter shoot down, stage crash is probably a topic for another show. Signed ST. How cynical and skeptical we all are, aren't we? You know what that comes from? Finding out we've been lied to so many times. Finding out that there is spin doctors, cover-up artists, and flat-out hoaxes. No wonder. We just see things as they probably are. So as I was saying before the break, the 3 distinct attributes of the appearance of this one-world system coming known as Babylon, described as the body, the soul, and the spirit. The body would be the actual literal city itself, destroyed at 3 different points in time. The first aspect, according to Jeremiah 51, lines 59 and 64, is the literal geographical city of ancient Babylon of ancient Babylon in present-day Iraq. This would refer spiritually to the body of Babylon, a literal city that's existed in, various states of ruin, renewal, and controlled by various groups and powers throughout its physical life. Genesis 10 indicates that Nimrod was the original founder of Babylon, from where he built the Tower of Babel. The word Babylonian comes from the Greek variant of the Akkadian word called Babalu, meaning gateway of the gods. In the Hebrew Bible, the name appears as Babel, interpreted by Book of Genesis 11:9 to mean confusion, dispersion of languages. That's where we get the word babble from. We say, oh, he's just babbling. Well, the Tower of Babel, as you know, had a dispersion of languages. From the verb balal, meaning to confuse and to disperse, because that's what the Bible tells us happened to the people that were in Babylon, building the Tower of Babel, could no longer want to understand one another. Were confused and left and just went with the people that they could understand. Babylon, as a city, rose to power, drawing from the Mesopotamian histories of the early Sumerian culture before it to itself became one of the wonders of the ancient world. A kingdom later reflected in the vision of the prophet Daniel, who saw a large statue with a golden head to represent Babylon being part of the larger body of global satanic kingdoms that would rule the world. In time, Babylon would fall to other influences. There was the influence of the Persian Empire, the Macedonians under Alexander the Great. Yet eventually Babylon became nothing but a few barely maintained structures in the desert, the physical city never rising again to hold the lofty position it once held in the ancient world. But if you'll recall, in 1985, Saddam Hussein started rebuilding the city of Babylon on top of its old ruins, investing in both restoration and new construction. What really irked the British and German archaeologists, Saddam inscribed his own name on many of the bricks in imitation of the ancient king of Babylon, and Antichrist archetype, I might add, Nebuchadnezzar. Remember? Saddam Hussein was channeling King Nebuchadnezzar. He thought he was the reincarnation of that ancient king. The British and the Americans and the Germans were quick to say, no, you're not. And more recently, since the Second Gulf War, the U.S. presence in Iraq has caused incredible damage to many of the famous antiquities of ancient Babylon, such as the Ishtar Gate, for instance, dedicated to the Babylonian goddess Ishtar, constructed of blue glazed tiles with alternating rows of bas-relief dragons. Ishtar, by the way, is the statue of the woman that's on the very top of the United States Capitol building that houses Congress. Yes. She stands on top of all the lawmakers. By that which is revealed in Jeremiah 50, lines 18 through 20, then again in chapter 51, lines 19 through 24 in Jeremiah, the King James Version of the Bible, the final destruction of the literal city of Babylon was prophesied to occur near the last days, meaning the second manifestation of Babylon is spiritually called, and as it rises up from the ancient spirit of Babylon to culminate in that future sacrilegious seat by which the Antichrist and his false prophet establish as a global religious system, as they further solidify the Antichrist's total control of the whole planet. This religious system is in its maturing stages right now, with the globally accepted New Age movement and its major belief system actually drawn from ancient Babylonian witchcraft and magical systems. Your entertainment is full of it in your movies, your video games, your commercials even. This is Spaceman on AM 640. This is Talk Radio. Back in a moment more.
Have you heard, darling?
Heard what, darling?
Arlene Bynum.
What have you heard?
She's now doing afternoons.
By the way, everybody,
Afternoons?
Yes.
Could you pass the marmalade,
I
darling?
figured out how to not have these very boring and only these three landscape pictures for you guys. As of now, there will be no more of that. There will be awesome 3 pictures. Sorry. But anyway, so, it's not about the pictures anyway. You're listening to Spaceman.